It's been over 500 days and the Russia-Ukraine war continues to rage. But now something different is happening, which is hurting the Ukrainians. Moscow has unleashed a new weapon and Kyiv has been caught off guard. Recent attacks show that it is defenseless. We are talking about the P-800 Onyx missile, the latest from Russia's arsenal. Thursday marked the third night in a row that Russia launched attacks on Odessa using the Onyx missile. Moscow's forces are also using the missiles to hit other key targets in cities like Mykolaiv. The Ukrainian Air Force is struggling to counter Russia's usage of these missiles, and a spokesperson said that speed and flight profile of the Russian missile complicates the ability to detect and intercept the weapon. The Onyx missile has a range of 300 kilometers, its default trajectory, and a range of 120 kilometers in a low-altitude trajectory. After being accelerated by a rocket booster, the missile propels itself with a kerosene-powered ramjet motor. The Center for Strategic and International Studies says that in a typical flight, the missile can reach an altitude of up to 14 kilometers and a speed up to Mach 2.2. When approaching its targets, the missile then descends to a 10 to 15 meter altitude to avoid detection. At low or terminal altitudes, the missile's maximum speed is Mach 2. The missile has both an active and passive internal navigating system. It is equipped with either a 200-kilometer high explosive or a 250-kilometer semi-armor piercing warhead. Improvements were made in 2002 in the form of updating the previous terminal seekers with an active radar seeking and imaging infrared seeker. Earlier, when the Russian used its hypersonic Kinzhal missile, which was one of its latest and most advanced weapons, Ukraine was able to shoot it down with the U.S. Patriot air defense system. But as of now, the war has not seen a missile of such extent. And with Russia introducing this in the war, Ukraine has been struggling to intercept it. For more on this, we are being joined by foreign policy analyst Edward P. Joseph from Washington, D.C. Edward, welcome back to WION, and thank you for joining us. This seems concerning on a few fronts. One, that Ukraine was caught off guard, and by extension, perhaps the United States as well.
Well, this is war. There's the fact that Russia is going to use munitions and repurpose an anti-ship weapon like this Onyx missile and use it against land targets. Well, this happens in a war, but let's put some things here into context and really focus on what is the urgent aspect of this. There's nothing amazing about the capacity of this missile. This technology is old. This is coming back from 1970s. Yes, it's a very fast weapon. It's, as your report mentioned, it's a supersonic weapon. But this is not some type of miracle technology or anything like that. And it can be countered. The problem is that Ukraine does not have enough of the Patriot missiles or other anti-missile systems. It's simply a lack of that. It's not that there's no defense against this. It's that there's simply not enough. The West has not provided Ukraine with enough to defend itself. Now, here, what's the real point here is are the implications of this for the world. Because Russia is deliberately, it's not just that it's attacking random targets, it's attacking Ukraine's grain exports. That's what it's doing. It's impeding the ability of Ukraine to export the wheat and the grain that the world needs, that citizens in India, in Africa, in other places need. And that's why the voice of countries in Asia, Africa, and Latin America who have been sitting on the fence and saying, this is not really our war. Well, it is your war. And this is the time, with this upcoming BRICS summit, it's the time for the leaders of those counterpart countries to Russia to express their view and say that this war and certainly this tactic is completely unacceptable. Please.
So we're getting reports that Vladimir Putin tells Poland that any aggression against Belarus is an attack on Russia, because Russia believes at this point that Poland has territorial ambitions in the former Soviet Union and is concerned, considering the fact that we also heard Vladimir Putin say that he expects Polish troops to enter Ukraine very soon. What are your thoughts about that?
It's a complete nonsense on the part of Putin to make this allegation. But what isn't nonsense and what's very serious is why he makes such claims. Why does he make such claims? Because it's setting up the potential for Russia to attack Poland. This is what this is. This is a veiled threat by Putin to be able to attack Poland. Why would he want to attack Poland? Very simply, because that's the transit point for weapons into Ukraine. So let's not have any belief in and put any stock in whatsoever in this propaganda from Putin about Poland being interested in attacking and joining forces in Ukraine on the ground. It's the last thing the Polish would do, because they know very well that this would bring a Russian counter-response. This is, again, it's an attempt to make about potentially attacking in Poland. So that's exactly what this is. And finally, let's remember, again, what a weak position Vladimir Putin is in at home. The aftershocks of this attempted mutiny by Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group, continue. We heard the CIA chief, William Burns, just yesterday announced that according to U.S. information, the Kremlin was adrift during this mutiny and didn't really know what to do, and that Vladimir Putin was out of touch. So this is the context here. We have a weakened Vladimir Putin who's making ever more dangerous the entire world, not just Ukraine, not just Ukraine's backers in the United States and the European Union, but the entire world, including in India. Please.
Edward P. Joseph from Washington, D.C., thank you so much for joining us on WION.
You're welcome.